Welcome to the Archive of Echoes. Please select the log entry you wish to relive. Acknowledged. Calibrating. Prepare to dive. The waves crashed against the bow of the ship, beckoning it further into the clutch of the ocean tide. Sailors ran around, tightening ropes, furling sails, and navigating the rigging as the well of a great storm began to crest the horizon. Into this predicament the mid-sized frigate sailed. She had never been intended for war, but her armaments and plating would belie the impression that it had been so. As the clouds began to grow steadily darker, it served as a grim portent of nature's devices for the vessel. A fitting challenge to the sailors aboard, they faced death with no fear, for their hearts were filled with purpose and undying faith in their captain and her vessel. The Eulogy, as she was christened, now began to be buffeted by the winds as they whipped over her sails, down still till they reached on, leading to the deck of the ship, rushing up past each mast toward the stern and the aft deck until it met the face of the captain. Her dark hair was contained beneath the cedar brown of her cloak, which was cast back behind her by the gale. Her gloved hands held tightly to the ship wheel, leather finding purchase upon the varnished wood. Her amber eyes stared intently at the oncoming squall. No ordinary sailor would have chanced riding straight through the torrent, yet it was all that was standing between her and home. More importantly, she sailed with intelligence regarding movements and shipping routes of her enemies. Yes, no ordinary sailor would have dared, but Cassandra Devirre was no ordinary sailor. With practiced skill she began to bark out orders. "Pull in all but main! Lash them good and tight! I want all hatches latched and locked yesterday! Move lively, men! Once we're through this, it's clear on towards port!" The men reacted to her commands as they always did, eager to see home and stand once more on solid ground. Rain began to pelt the deck, picking up intensity, and the sailors' feet splashed in the puddles, forming small pools on the deck. Waves now grew in strength, and the Eulogy rose to their peak, then breached before riding down their valley. The cacophony of raindrops mixed with the howling of the wind to create an orchestra of the tempest. Finally to this was at last added cracks of thunder, booming out like bass drums, completing the ensemble of this symphony of storms. Cassandra kept her eyes fixed on the horizon. By now flashes of lightning illuminated her face beneath the otherwise dark sky. She chanced a glance to the side and saw a large rogue wave off the port side of the ship. "All hands brace and hold tight!" she yelled above the chaotic concert that assailed them. Cassandra turned the wheel with a mighty heave. The wood strained and cracked as she held fast as the ship's rudder fought with the water below to obey her commands. Agonizingly slowly to the perception of those aboard, the ship turned to face the wave. All the men held tight to the ropes tied and knotted to the railing of the ship as the wave washed over them. As the Eulogy broke through it, some of the sailors slipped and fell, yet Cassandra noted thankfully that none had been lost to the waters. As if in reply, a huge gust of wind, accompanied by a bolt of lightning, shot past and snapped the smallest mast toward the bow of the ship. Falling forward, it landed in a chaotic jumble of wood and canvas. It smashed the railing off the front of the ship and tumbled over, breaking the figurehead, a stylized orca whale, carrying it and the sails down beneath the waves. Cassandra sent a quick, silent prayer to those she had just lost, but needed to focus on saving the ones still alive. Her quartermaster, Edmund Gallanoth, ascended the stairs to the ship's wheel. "Cass, I'm not sure how much more she can take. Are you ready yet?" he asked in a haggard worry. "Soon. Hold on just a little bit more and I'll have it," she shouted in reply to him. To this conversation another crash of thunder, another flash of lightning, and off to the starboard side she spotted it. A waterspout headed right toward them, howling like a ravenous beast as it made its way over, threatening to swallow them all. It was a monster of nature, and it would have its due. "Edmund, trim the gallants and royals. We may have lost the stunts, but we still have sheets," she barked. "Aye, Captain," he replied, descending the stairs and rallying a few lads to fulfill Devirre's orders. All around the eulogy, the storm continued to rage. Cassandra reached out with her mind, trying to read the winds. She focused as best she could in all the confusion. Then she yanked the ship's wheel and turned directly towards the cyclone. Some would have called it suicide. Cassandra knew better, and she had a plan. The winds fed the sails, and the eulogy moved ever closer to the whirl of wave and gale. As the bow of the ship breached the cyclone, it began to thrash against the shiplap and metal plating of the hull. The men braced and held on with all their might, lest they be gobbled by the fury of wind and water. Anything not secured to the ship began to be lifted away. The sailors began to chant the anthem of their homeland, and in all these things still Cassandra pushed forward, holding the wheel in a fervent grip. Then, once the ship was in the maelstrom, her amber irises and pupils vanished into glowing pools of white, as all around the ship strong winds countered the gale and surrounded the eulogy, all seeming to stir from beneath Cassandra. The cyclone subsided, and like the center of a hurricane, the ship was kept safe in the space between the howling winds. It is true that no ordinary sailor could brave the storm, yet the men went in dauntlessly, because they knew that Cassandra Devirre was the eye of the storm. Another echo archived. I look forward to seeing you again. Goodbye for now, until next time you log in. Echoes fade slower with you here.